Whether you're prepping for 40 on your account level, you've already hit it and you wanted to see what you've missed out on, here are some big tips for what you should be doing or maybe not doing as you approach or just past account level 40. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And yes, we're talking about some tips that you could use or maybe you can send to a loved one that we don't have. Now, the first thing you guys definitely need to focus in on, and this is an absolute must, as you're hitting 40, is that is the time where you're done messing around with your characters. You're like, I leveled a couple of dudes to 20, 30, tested them out. As you're hitting 40, you need to focus in on really 6 characters that you're going to take to level 50. This is going to be because there's going to be a piece of content, the Basin of Hyperspace, which is going to use 2 different teams, and you want to have 2 different teams set up for that. And on top of that, you're also going to, in one of your activity pages up here in the growth guide, you're going to need to hit 50 with a couple of characters, or you're going to get locked on the growth guide and not be able to progress on that. The easiest thing for you to do is support the channel by checking out the link in the description below. You're going to get a free legendary champion as well as up to $200 worth of free goodies. And don't forget, up to 3 awesome epics as you level up inside of Raid. And be sure to use the code Desert Queen to get access to your new free legendary champion in the form of Tahana Rock. As always, this helps the channel out so much, guys, so be sure to check that description down in the link below and join me in Raid today. The reason why we need to do this too is that, well, for right now, and it might get changed in the future, it's relatively expensive to level characters up, and focusing on your top 6 is going to make your playthrough experience with the rest of the game quite easily as you're hitting account 40. And this ties into the second point, which is something that you absolutely do not want to do, is do not go and start leveling every single character you have to level 30, every single character you have to level 40, right? Your characters don't need to match your account level. I know it feels bad that some of them are going to be just sitting there unused. It's just typical Gacha game stuff. And especially for right now, we have not enough resources to spread them out over everyone. If you do that, you're actually going to set yourself back by a wide margin. So what you really need to focus on is pick a DPS, a main character that you're going to be using on your team for team 1. Max that person out first, work on that team, check the supporters that you're using in that team, level them up to 40. And then level the supporters for that first team up to 50. After you do that, do the same thing for your second team. Find a DPS you're going to be using there, whether it's going to be someone like Mei Lin or Calliope, Hugo, whoever's doing the main damage for your second team, level that character up to 50, right? Level their supporting cast up to 40, level those supporters up to 50 as well. So I know tip 1 and tip 2 are kind of similar there, but I had to mention them both at the same time because, yeah, you might need to level 6 dudes up to 50. You absolutely do not need to level everyone up to 40 as well as 50. That is a giant trap. We also just talked about the importance of picking your main DPS character and focusing on them on your primary team first. Why is that? Well, not only are you trying to level them to 50 so you can utilize them in combat in different content, but it also is going to help you hyper focus in on potentials for that character as well. Now, there are going to be a couple of potentials that you can skip over, but the main character for your base team, especially as you're getting into the 40s and you start unlocking new stuff, new chaos manifestation zones with the codex system as well, things are going to get starting to be a little bit harder in your chaos runs. Your main character, it's now time to start leveling up and making sure that you have the potential levels that you want inside of chaos. So your main character, that is your main DPS, feel free to just fully upgrade as much as you want the base card thing. This is going to actually help you out on this potential on that main character. Do extra damage every time you run a chaos run. When we're using a save data in stuff outside of chaos, we don't typically use a lot of base attacks on a lot of our characters, but inside of chaos, especially, you know, inside the first floor, you're using the highest damage stuff you have available, and typically that's going to be your DPS character, and your DPS character's base cards are going to get used more so than your support cards, right? Of your support characters and their attacking cards. We're not trying to do damage with Water Arrow on Mika, we're trying to do damage with Tressa's Dagger Throw. So we want to max this one out. One thing that you can feel free to skip over is the second one. You can get 1 point in the common card upgrade. This is for neutral cards. Not a lot of neutral cards are really useful, especially early on once you're hitting 40. A lot of the time those monster cards, you're not saving them in your save data, so anything you put into the neutral upgrade potential is kind of wasted materials. You can even skip over this, not entirely, but don't level it up. You're going to need to get 1 point in this, everybody, so you can unlock the other nodes, but don't put any more into it after that. Afterwards, you're going to focus in on your unique card upgrade for your main DPS character. This is because the most damage that you're doing, both at the end of your chaos runs and outside of chaos, are coming from your main DPS character in their unique cards, which is the vast majority of the cards that you're using on those characters. The only base cards really for most characters are going to be the ones with the white font. So like for Tressa, the base cards is literally Dagger Throw and Touch of Darkness. Everything else that this character does, whether it's Unsheathed Dagger and Shadow Dagger, or Shadow Reload stuff, or Vital Attack, all of that stuff for Tressa is locked into the unique card stuff, and most characters are like that as well. So feel free to max this one out on your main DPSs as high as you can too. After you do that stuff, you're around a level 40, you'll have the ability eventually to do and prepare for the crit chance and the crit damage and these big damage nodes here. I wouldn't go too far into them right away. You don't need to max these ones out, but you can start progressing and saving towards them as you're progressing more so towards 50, which really doesn't need to be in this video, but I know there's gonna be some questions. Do I need to max these ones out ASAP right after I hit 40, right as I'm ready to go to 50? This is sort of like a slow burn thing. You don't need to worry about that one too much. Now, we do need to talk about the two big potential nodes that every character has that you'll have around character level 40, which is gonna be these basic card upgrades, right? You have the first one down here that's very cheap. You should grab this one for everyone that you're leveling to 50. It's very cheap to pick up, and it really sort of benefits every character in some small way. Even if it doesn't seem like it's crazy, it's very easy to get the materials for this first one here. Get it in there. It's gonna smooth out your chaos runs. It's gonna help you out quite a lot. Now, the other one though that you'll see up here, this top one, is something that you might be able to skip for most of your characters. This one might be something that you'll look at for your main DPS character, and it goes on a case-by-case basis. You don't need to max this one out for everyone. And in fact, you can see on most of my characters, I actually don't think I have it for anybody. This is because this one typically like buffs up like the basic card effect that one of the characters does. So like for Tressa, for example, Dagger Throw is going to do a little bit more damage if the damage over time is higher. I don't particularly care about this. You could level this up if you wanted to, but a lot of the characters don't gain a bunch of benefit from it. However, there are some, for instance, like if you look at Mei Lin, who really is all about that basic card proficiency. Mei Lin does a bunch of strike damage in some builds, especially inside of chaos runs, and this is just going to give you more damage for that strike. So avoid this top one unless your character, and you've been using your character, you're not brainless, right? I know you got a noggin up there. If it looks like, hey, I do a bunch of this card, get it. If it isn't that big of a deal, water barrier, ego recovery, extra healing, you can skip it because they're very expensive and they use a time limited weekly lockout material you're not gonna have very many of at level 40. So save that for your main DPS if you are going to unlock one of them. This ties into the fourth tip. Guess what? Yeah, it's more important for you to work on these potentials as you're hitting 40 to ease up your chaos runs than it is to max out crazy memory fragments. I know you're going to want to get in there and be like, I need to spam refresh and get perfect fragments because now I can get the 5 stars and now I need to go and do it. At level 40, I would still tell you not to worry too much about your memory fragments, not to worry too much about spending an excessive amount of energy farming up said memory fragments. What you want to do is, if you're having energy to burn, work on your DPS's potentials first, and then use whether it's your extra energy in the memory fragment dungeons or use your extra energy in the chaos runs if you're running chaos a lot, because you can get memory fragments from chaos runs that way as well. Every time you defeat a boss, it'll ask you if you want to spend a ticket. If you're out of tickets, you can spend 60 energy to turn that into a ticket and get access to memory fragments that way as well. And you can get access to a lot of 2-piece bonuses, which are very nice for a lot of characters. You'll get a lot of use out of them. Something as simple as just like the attack set and the crit damage set, they go a long way. If you're using Agony in your team, those go a long way as well. And you can actually trade those off and pass those off between different DPS characters because they're just generic, very strong damage bonuses that aren't type locked or anything, right? We're not working on the passion set and the void set and all this other stuff quite yet. But for your main DPS, what you want to do for memory fragment farming, so you have your potentials ready to rock and roll. You can work on farming a little bit, get some with the right main stats, craft one with the right main stat. If you have a lot of crafting stuff from different login rewards that we've received, right, you can craft some stuff this way as well, and craft like a multiple 2-piece bonuses or whatever. Don't worry too much about the substats yet at 40. Don't go off the board there and start max refreshing every day trying to get perfect substats at 40. That's something that you can do as a slow burn, and then if it's not complete enough for you as you hit 50, then you put the gas to the pedal all the way to the floorboards and you finish up your memory fragment stuff at 50, but don't do that yet at 40. Now, the last one's gonna be a pretty simple thing, but a lot of the times you're gonna be slowly falling behind on Arc City if you're not super attentive to what's going on here. The main thing we're gonna be talking about is the importance of the research facility, but the other thing that's very important is all of this stuff's kind of intertwined with the friendship system. So you're gonna have multiple different hangout spots with different characters every day. Ones who are available here are available because they're not inside of the policy office. So if someone's in the policy office, they don't show up for me inside of the city themselves. So there's 2 ways to gain friendship. You can put them in the policy office and gain friendship when you take their policies, or you can utilize the hangout system that uses one of these like spend time together credit things each time. And do note that these are shared with the ego Appian system psychotherapy. So why do I bring that up? This is a very big deal because a lot of players will complain like, oh, well, I don't have enough to use in the excursions and hanging out with people for affinity, and also play the game and do chaos and take people out of the trauma system. Why am I talking about that? Thanks, Tressa. So they do use the same currency, but here's a hot tip for you here. The little trauma system that people like show up in after chaos runs, you do not have to heal them immediately. You can still use the characters that are in this center. I'm not pronouncing the first word ever again. Don't ever ask me for it. The Appian Center. You can use them in chaos still, even if they're in here. And you can, and while they're in here and while they're staying broken and stuff, and you're still using them in chaos, they will be able to still save their save data as a broken thing up to 10 times. So you don't need to come in here and delete their memories or counsel them every single time if you're spamming chaos runs. Say you're gonna do 10 chaos runs, and you know you're gonna do 10. You don't need to do a chaos run, come in here, heal them, go do another chaos run, come back, heal them, delete their memories, go do another chaos run, come back, heal them, delete their memories, counsel them, run out of counsel stuff, be sad. Have them just sit in here, and then when you're done doing chaos for the day, you say, I'm done. Then you come in here, and maybe you have 3 dudes, right, that you've been using the whole time. You can use 3 counselings on all 3 of them, get all of their decks back from all of the runs you did, and you'll still have a counseling or so saved up so you can go take someone out on a date. All right, that's gonna help you save a bunch of time, money, get you a little bit of counseling sessions in there, and it actually is gonna save you a fair amount of credits because it's like 30,000, 60,000 credits or whatever to delete some people's memories. It scales, I think, based on their level. At least I noticed that it's gone up for me recently. So that's a big one. If you're coming in here spending 30,000 credits every time you do a chaos run, you are deleting your credits when you don't need to. You could be saving a ton of credits that way, which is an absolute huge deal. Now, as far as the research facility goes, this one's okay. I like to focus on the top thing first if you gain access to it. It's kind of self-explanatory. There's not really a huge way to mess this one up. I like focusing on the top 2 though. The top one's going to allow you to do cool stuff like reroll dice inside of chaos runs, help you eventually get the ability to reroll your Protoss EP skill. So if the right ones don't show up, this one actually gives you a gameplay advantage at some point. But you can't just choose to do all of the top. You have to, do 5 points worth of stuff before each next section will unlock. You can see it up here with the 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And I kind of focus on I got a couple areas, did the top one, majority of that, and then now I'm doing some of the middle ones. The middle ones allow you to reduce the damage that happens during calamities, and which is a pretty big one as well, because once you start leveling your characters up, they're happier with you. You have the characters who like you in here. They're going to start giving you the option for things that don't actually increase or decrease anything on the left-hand side. Happiness, public order. It's not going to affect any of that stuff. You can just pick getting free reward. You can pick free stuff, like whether it's free currency, you can pick free things that turn into materials to level your potentials, to level your characters. You can pick that stuff here too. So make sure that you also pick in the center down here in the research facility, some of these things that decrease your stats dropping every time a calamity is incurred as well, which is pretty cool. And then this one here that you'll get unlocked later on gives you extra bonus affinity for people who are in the research policy office. So if you're finding yourselves doing a lot of chaos, you're finding yourselves using the little dating currency all of the time, what I like to do is come into the policy office, put the people I want to build my trust, my friendship with in the office, level their trust that way, spend my 1 a day on somebody out here, and then spend the other 3 that I have per day in the center healing people from their therapy sessions. And if you do those 5 things, your trip to 40 or around there should be a lot easier than it would be if you just did all of the opposite of what we just talked about in this video. Make sure you check out the description below, guys, to help me out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.